Welcome to Strategic Spark, where we like to unpack these powerful ideas to really help you ignite your strategic thinking.
Yeah,
And today we're going to be diving into the world of strategic initiatives,
I like it.
those critical action plans that can really make or break a company's success.
You got it.
It's fascinating stuff, but here's the thing.
Okay.
A recent study found that a staggering 40% of strategic initiatives fail.
Oh, wow.
That's almost half.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So clearly there's a need for a solid understanding of
Yeah.
what separates the winners from the ones that don't quite make it.
For sure, for sure. And luckily, we have some great insights to guide us today.
Oh, perfect.
From Quantiv's article, How to Get Strategic Initiatives,
Right.
Four Essential Steps.
Okay.
This piece really breaks down the process in a
Yeah.
way that anyone can apply.
So before we jump into those steps, can you just paint a picture for us? Like, what exactly is a strategic initiative?
Sure.
What are we talking about here?
It's a great question because sometimes these terms get thrown around and we assume everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
At its core, a strategic initiative is a coordinated set of actions
Okay.
with a clear purpose to achieve specific business goals that drive the company's overall strategy forward.
So it's really about, moving from the what of your vision to the how.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about dreaming big.
No,
It's about mapping out those concrete steps
you got it.
to get there.
Yeah.
But how do we know if something qualifies as a strategic initiative?
Yeah, right.
Like, what are we really looking for here?
Yeah, what are the telltale signs?
Yeah.
So there are 5 key characteristics that really set strategic initiatives apart.
Got it.
First, they typically involve multiple departments or teams working together.
Okay.
Um,
Cross-functional.
Cross-functional. Think about launching a new product.
Yeah.
For instance, you'd need input from research and development. Marketing, sales, production.
It touches everything.
It touches almost every part of the organization.
Right. It's a company-wide effort,
It is.
not just a single department's pet project.
Yeah.
What else makes these initiatives unique?
Well, unlike vague aspirations,
Oh,
they focus on very specific actions
Right.
that are clearly linked to
Mhm.
those strategic goals.
okay.
For example, instead of a broad goal like improve customer satisfaction,
Right.
a strategic initiative would lay out concrete steps like reduce customer support wait times by 50% within 6 months.
So it's about turning those broad goals into laser-focused actions with measurable targets.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to see how this differs from a business-as-usual approach.
Yeah.
What else should we keep in mind?
Well, timelines are crucial.
Okay.
Strategic initiatives have a defined start and end date.
Got it.
This creates a sense of urgency,
Yeah.
keeps everyone on track, and reinforces accountability.
It sounds like these initiatives are really about focused bursts of energy and effort,
Right.
rather than open-ended projects that could just drag on indefinitely.
I like that.
And speaking of focus,
Yeah,
those measurable outcomes we mentioned are essential.
for sure.
It's not enough to say we want to increase brand awareness.
Right.
A strategic initiative would target a specific increase, like boost website traffic by 20%.
You need those tangible metrics
Yeah.
to track progress and determine whether you've hit the mark.
So it's about setting those clear goals that can be objectively measured.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got cross-functional teams,
Right.
specific actions, set timelines, and measurable outcomes.
Uh-huh.
What's the 5th characteristic that rounds out this picture of a strategic initiative?
The 5th and perhaps most crucial is flexibility.
Okay.
We live in a world where markets shift,
Yeah,
new technologies emerge, and unexpected challenges pop up all the time.
all the time.
If you rigidly stick to a plan that no longer makes sense, you're almost guaranteed to fail.
Right.
Strategic initiatives need that built-in ability to adapt to new information
Yeah.
and adjust course as needed.
I see. So it's not about abandoning the plan at the first sign of trouble,
No,
but rather about having that agility
you got it.
to make adjustments as the situation evolves.
Yeah.
It's like navigating a ship.
Right.
You have your destination in mind,
Yeah.
but you constantly have to adjust your course based on the wind, the currents, and any unexpected obstacle you might encounter.
Precisely, and this is where a platform like Quantiv can be incredibly valuable.
Oh, okay.
They've really thought through how to support that agility at every stage of the process.
Interesting.
In fact, their website, quantiv.com, is a great resource for anyone looking to bring more structure and adaptability to their strategic initiatives.
That's great to know. We'll definitely encourage our listeners to check them out.
Yeah.
But for now, let's keep unpacking this framework.
Okay.
We know what a strategic initiative is.
Right.
But how do we actually bring one to life successfully?
That's where those 4 essential steps come in. They provide a roadmap, a way to break down what can feel like an overwhelming process into manageable stages.
Okay, so let's dive into those steps. What's the first thing we need to do?
Yeah. So the first step is all about laying the groundwork. It's called identify the challenge, need, or opportunity.
Okay.
It might seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how often teams just jump into action
Yeah.
without truly understanding the why behind their initiative.
I can see how that happens.
Yeah.
Everyone's eager to get moving to make things happen.
Right.
But if you're not clear on the underlying problem or the opportunity, you could be setting yourself up for trouble down the line.
Exactly. It's like setting off on a journey
Yeah.
without knowing where you're going or why you're even going there in the first place.
Right.
It might end up somewhere, but is it the right destination?
So how do we avoid that? How do we make sure we're starting with a solid foundation?
Well, this is where good old-fashioned analysis comes in.
Okay.
Tools like a SWOT analysis,
Mm-hmm.
which examines your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Right.
Can be incredibly helpful in this stage.
Yeah.
Or a PESTLE analysis, which considers political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors that might be at play.
Okay.
These frameworks really help you get a 360-degree view of the situation
Mm-hmm.
and identify the root cause of a problem or the true potential of an opportunity.
It's like putting on your detective hat, gathering all the evidence
Yeah.
before you jump to any conclusions.
Yes, and once you've done your due diligence, you move on to step 2.
Okay.
Define purpose, scope, and communication.
Okay.
Now that you understand the why, it's time to articulate the how
Yeah.
and the what of the initiative.
I'm sensing a theme here, and it's clarity.
Yes.
It sounds like every step is about getting crystal clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it.
You're absolutely right. And in this step, it's not just about clarity for yourself,
Right.
but for everyone involved. This is where communication becomes mission critical.
Yeah, for sure.
Imagine a relay race
Okay.
where the runners aren't sure where to hand off the baton.
Yeah, it's going to be chaos.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
If everyone's not on the same page, the entire initiative falls apart.
Yeah.
So what does good communication look like in this context?
It starts with clearly articulating the purpose of the initiative.
Okay.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
How will it contribute to our overall strategy?
Mm-hmm.
What does success look like?
Right.
And it's equally important to define the scope.
Okay.
Which teams are involved? What are the key milestones? How long will this initiative take?
I imagine having that clear scope from the outset also helps to prevent scope creep,
Absolutely.
which I know can be a
Yeah.
major problem in any project.
It sets those boundaries and expectations right from the start, and a platform like Quantive can really support this process by providing a centralized hub for all of this information.
Oh, interesting.
Everyone has access to the same documents, the latest updates,
Okay.
the same understanding of the initiative's goals and scope.
So it sounds like it eliminates a lot of the potential for miscommunication and confusion.
Exactly. And that brings us to step 3,
All right.
which is where we start to get a bit more tactical, setting specific OKRs and KPIs.
These are those measurable targets we talked about earlier, right?
Yes, OKRs, which stand for objectives and key results,
Right.
are about setting ambitious goals
Okay.
and defining the specific measurable results
Yeah.
that will demonstrate progress towards those goals.
Got it.
KPIs, or key performance indicators,
Yeah.
are the metrics you'll track to assess your performance against those key results.
Okay. So it's about breaking down those big mixture goals
Right.
into smaller, more manageable chunks
Yeah,
that can be tracked and measured.
exactly.
But this feels like the stage where things could easily become overwhelming.
It can.
How do we make sure we're setting the right targets and tracking the right metrics?
That's where good planning and communication come in again.
Yeah.
It's crucial to involve the right people in this process.
Mm-hmm.
The people who have the expertise and the data to inform those decisions. And this is another area where a platform like Quantive can be a game changer.
Okay.
It allows you to set up those OKRs and KPIs in a way that's transparent and trackable.
Okay.
For everyone involved, you can see in real time how different teams are contributing to those overall goals.
It's like having that single source of truth that we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
Everyone's working from the same playbook,
Yeah.
and everyone can see how their individual efforts are contributing to the bigger picture.
Yeah, I like that.
I can definitely see the appeal of having a tool like that
Right.
to manage the complexity.
It's a lifesaver.
So we've identified the challenge,
Mhm.
defined the purpose and scope,
Right.
and set our measurable targets.
Okay.
What's the final step in this journey of bringing a strategic initiative to life?
Step 4 is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
Execute, monitor, and adapt.
Okay.
This is where you put your plan into action, but it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Right.
Remember that crucial element of flexibility we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
This is where it really comes into play.
So it's about recognizing that the initial plan is just a starting point.
It is.
You need to be constantly monitoring progress, gathering feedback, and being willing to adjust course as needed.
Yeah, you need to be constantly monitoring progress, gathering feedback, and being willing to adjust course as needed.
Right.
You might start with one approach,
Mhm.
but then realize that the market has shifted,
Right.
or a new competitor has emerged, or the technology you were relying on is no longer the best option.
Yeah, you got to stay agile.
The ability to adapt
Right.
is what separates successful strategic initiatives from those that fall flat.
I can see how that ties back to those timelines we talked about.
It does.
If you're rigidly sticking to a plan that's no longer relevant, you might end up wasting valuable time and resources.
Absolutely. And this is another area where technology can be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
A platform like Quantive allows you to track progress in real time, identify potential roadblocks early on, and make those crucial adjustments before things go too far off course.
So it's like having a built-in early warning system
Yeah,
for your strategic initiatives.
exactly.
Okay, we're getting a clear picture here of the importance of staying agile and adapting as needed.
Right.
But I'm also curious about the monitoring aspect.
Yeah.
What does that actually look like in practice? Are we talking about weekly check-ins, dashboards?
Sure.
How do we actually make sure we're staying on top of things?
That's a great question, and the answer will really depend on the specific initiative and the tools you're using.
Okay.
But the key is to have a system in place
Yeah.
that provides you with regular insights into progress challenges and any emerging opportunities.
Got it.
This might involve setting up dashboards that track those KPIs we talked about, having regular team meetings to discuss progress and roadblocks, and gathering feedback from stakeholders along the way.
Right, so multiple touch points.
Multiple touch points, and of course, a platform like Quantive can streamline this entire monitoring process.
Giving you a centralized view of all the key data and insights.
That makes sense.
They even have a free trial on their website, quantive.com.
Oh, perfect.
So you can try it out for yourself and see how it can transform the way you manage strategic initiatives.
That's fantastic information for our listeners. We'll make sure to highlight that in the show notes.
Great.
Feels like we've covered so much ground today.
We have.
But I want to make sure we distill this down to the most important points.
Okay.
Let's recap what we've learned about achieving success with these strategic initiatives.
Okay, so first and foremost, remember those 5 key characteristics that set these initiatives apart.
Right.
They involve multiple teams, they focus on clear actions tied to strategic goals, they operate within set timelines,
Yeah.
they have measurable outcomes,
Right.
and most importantly, they're designed to be flexible enough to adapt to change.
Right. And we also delved into those 4 crucial steps that form a framework for success.
Yes.
We start by identifying the challenge.
Then move on to defining the purpose and scope and communicating it effectively.
For sure.
And then we get more specific by setting those OKRs and KPIs.
Yes.
And finally, we move into execution mode, but with a constant eye on monitoring progress and adapting as needed.
Exactly. Each step builds upon the previous one, and none can be skipped if you want to set your initiative up for success.
Right, and let's not forget the crucial role technology plays in supporting this entire process.
Absolutely.
You've talked about Quantive quite a bit today,
We have.
and for good reason. Their platform really seems to bridge that gap between planning and execution, giving teams that single source of truth, facilitating collaboration, and making it easier to stay on track and achieve those ambitious goals.
It's like having a strategic command center at your fingertips,
I love that analogy.
empowering you to navigate the complexities of strategic initiatives with more confidence.
So as we wrap up this episode of Strategic Spark, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder. Now that you have a solid framework for achieving strategic initiatives, what key challenge or opportunity will you tackle first?
That's a great question for every leader to consider.
It is.
Take some time to reflect on your organization's goals and identify those initiatives that will truly move the needle.
Yeah,
Remember, strategic initiatives are the driving force behind success.
they are.
So choose wisely and approach them with a clear plan, a collaborative spirit, and that all-important willingness to adapt. And if you're looking for a powerful tool to support your strategic journey,
Yes.
visit Quantive at quantive.com. Their platform can make a world of difference in streamlining your initiatives and maximizing your impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Strategic Spark.